Can I be honest with you? A lot of the time, children of nowadays, like we often say in quotes, have not done anything wrong. It is the adults of nowadays that needs to be scolded. Let me share this with you briefly. So I was at my hairdresser's some time ago, and while I was making my hair, a very beautiful young girl boy, I don't know, I'm kind of confused already because you understand my plight shortly. So she walked into my hairdresser's shop. Apparently she had a daughter, so the child walked into the shop and they were both playing. They were about the same age, so they were playing. So at some point, my hairdresser called out the child's name, Emmanuel. And that got me wondering, Emmanuel, okay? Emmanuel. All the while, I was thinking it was a girl. So when she said, Emmanuel, I now looked at the child's face as and at that point I was forced to ask my hairdresser, sorry, is this not a girl? Say no, it's not a girl, it's a boy. And I had to take a closer look at that boy, and truly was a boy. And do you know that all through my stay, there, quite a number of adults were passing by and they were saying hello to the girl, boy, to the child, because she was, the child was quite cute. So they were like, that, oh, hey, fine girl. And every time they said fine girl, my hairdresser had to come and say, no, it's actually not a girl, but a boy. Now this is where the problem is. This child it cannot be less than 4 or 3 thereabouts. And I'm so sure that the child did not decide to look like a girl. The child did not decide to weave his own hair. Neither did the child walk up to his mother to tell his mother that I want to weave my hair. The mother must have taken that child to the hairdressers to weave his hair, or maybe she did it in herself, whichever ways. But the fact remains that this boy is already looking like a girl, and many people were already calling her fine girl. Now this innocent young boy will grow up with the mindset that he is a fine girl, and so in other words, he will also want to look like a fine girl since every other person calls him a fine girl. And later we see such a child and we say children of nowadays. That child did not decide to look the way he's looking on his own accord. Now when he now gets to a particular age and then you now want to change suddenly, when he now grows older and he begins to wear his mother's wig, he begins to use makeup, he begins to wear jewelries, he begins to want to start dressing like a lady, then the mother wants to stop it. By then it's too late because the damage has been done already. So what am I trying to say here? Before we start shouting and yelling and saying all manner of things that these innocent children have done or not done, let us also consider our parenting. Parents, what are you even teaching these children? What are the things you are encouraging? Because sometimes it all starts with permitting some things. If there are things you don't want to see, it's best not to permit it at all. It doesn't make any sense for you to start up something, the child gets used to it, and then suddenly you just want to switch, or you just want that child to stop just like that. No, it does not work like that. So, my appeal is, parents, you can do better. If there's anything you don't want to see in your child, do not permit it from baby. I mean, you can't permit it till the child is a teenager, and then when the child is a teenager, you now start saying, don't dress like this, don't look like this, you cannot wear wig, you're a boy. But he's always been looking like a girl from the onset. So how come he has suddenly become a boy? Even such a child can even become confused about his own gender, because, I mean, all of the while, every other person sees him as a girl. So this is my own take. I mean, it's actually very, very disheartening that some of our Christian parents, the things that they permit, especially as these children are still very young and growing up, the kind of dresses they wear for their girls and see nothing wrong about it is, I mean, it's heartbreaking. And then such a child, when the child is now older, you now want to start reversing, and there's now some friction between you two and all that and all that. So permit me to say this, that there's nothing wrong with children of nowadays. Rather, more things are wrong with parents of nowadays. So you might like to go back to the drawing board and make your ways right. Because if the parents of nowadays continues like this, the children of nowadays will continue to grow worse and worse till it goes beyond repair. And I am really, really praying that we don't get to that level, because there will be a time that these children that were permitting some things, and we feel that because they are children, let's permit it. When they grow older and you try to stop them, they will revolt. And that is quite understandable, because this is what they've always known to be right. So you can't just wake up one morning and start preaching and start, you are making preaching hard. You don't understand. You are making preaching hard for us. We come to church, we preach and tell you, and you are the first person that will say, oh, glory, oh, thank you, Jesus. And after that, I mean, you still go back to doing that thing that is in your mind. So I don't understand what we're preaching, really. I don't even know whether I should be the children of nowadays or the adults of those days. Yes. So maybe the adults of those days can help parents of these days. Because I don't know. Just something not just align. Something not just balance. And I think the parents of nowadays need more help than even the children of nowadays, to be frank, sincerely. To really be frank. And the Bible already gave that permission, that the older women should teach the younger women. I mean, let the older generation, we need to be mentored. Like, guys, please, Edward, teach us. There are a lot of things that we really need to know, a lot of things that we really need to learn. And I'll be happy if parents of those days can be more, can become bolder to begin to say these things, so that we can learn and do better. Because I fear for this generation. I really fear.